Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. Don't forget to hit the bell to be notified of our upcoming videos. This is a review of the Citizen Super Titanium Armor series. I have 3 versions of the initial Super Titanium Armor. There's 2 chronographs and a 3-hand. Each of these has Citizen's Eco Drive powered quartz movements. And this is a watch which primarily begins by celebrating the Super Titanium material. The case and the bracelet are in super titanium. The design is contemporary, slightly futuristic. It's definitely a modern watch. I would say that these fit into the integrated bracelet look, which is so popular right now. And I really like how sort of distinctively Citizen they look in terms of style. There's no other watches that these are trying to be. This is a very original designs at Citizen, and that's very important to mention at a lot of the Japanese watchmakers because I think fans love them the most when they are very much in-house original designs. So the one I'm holding right now is one of the 2 chronographs. These are 44 millimeters wide, and there's actually a really neat feature on the chronographs I'll show you. The bezel, I'll start the chronograph right here. You can see that this has a sweeping seconds hand. The bezel, it's a unidirectional rotating bezel. And as you can see, the bezel only has a few markers on there. So why would it rotate? Well, what happens is it actually rotates for aesthetic purposes, and it clicks into place like that. And now it hides the pushers in the crown. So you have this nice look when you look at it straight on. It actually has these little flanks right here that give it another sort of trendy look. And I think it's very elegant that way. It just looks very, very nice. And then you just turn it again to re-expose the pushers in the crown. And one more time, and they're hidden. And you can still push them. It's not like they're not there. It's just a little bit of a visual element. It's very much for the wearer. And I think that that's sort of a nice, elegant job. This version of the Super Titanium Armor chronograph has a little bit of a gold aesthetic on the dial. And one link on both ends here is a darker coated color. And the rest of it is more of a natural titanium color. So I will compare that with the other version of the chronograph, which is a little bit more simple. You don't have that gold accenting on the dial, and you have the same color bracelet. I don't really know why they came out with both. I like that they did. I think it's actually kind of interesting that Citizen would want to play around with little designs. And they do this all the time. They have aesthetic versions where like, we're not really sure why they came out with that one and this one, but we're happy they do because it adds just that much more personality to the collection. So what exactly is Super Titanium? Super Titanium begins as titanium. And then there's 2 special processes that Citizen does to them. It's actually more complicated than that, but there's 2 sort of outcomes. One is they're strengthened, which means the tensile durability is increased and it's just a stronger metal. Titanium is very lightweight, it's about 30 to 40% lighter weight than steel. And it's also stronger, but it can scratch and dent more easily. And so the first process that Citizen does actually makes the surface of it stronger. The second process they do makes it much more scratch resistant because titanium, being a softer metal than steel, scratches quite easily. And super titanium is not only much more scratch resistant than normal titanium, but it's far more scratch resistant than steel and a lot of other materials. So all the super titanium watches that I own, they look basically brand new years later. I mean, you could damage if you really try, but through daily wear and tear, I think that you'll experience them as not changing at all. So between the sapphire crystal and the super titanium case, you've got a very long-lasting watch. And again, one of the reasons we love a lot of Japanese watches, the philosophy is not only to be accurate and not be something that you have to worry about, but also be something that looks new as long as humanly possible. So I'm going to take off the 44 millimeter wide version of the Armor. The bracelet is really nice actually, and you can see that it's actually pretty easy to size even though it looks like a 1 solid link. On the inside you can see that it has that middle link in there, which makes it actually wear much more nicely against the skin. It has more articulation and is going to be a little bit easier to size. No micro adjust in the bracelet, and some micro adjust would have been nice for sure. And then finally there's the 41 millimeter wide version of the Armor in the 3-hand version. So this is a little bit different, and this harkens back to Citizens' very first light-powered watch called the Crystron in the 1970s, which later became EcoDrive. And again, if you look at that dial and it's sort of distinctive, it has that hexagon shape in the middle, you're like, what is that? That is inspired by the look of their original watch with the photovoltaic cell. Here in EcoDrive, you can't see the photovoltaic cell because the dial acts as a very clever sort of filter which allows light to pass through using a prism effect, and it doesn't actually look like the dial has it. So that's a very nice proprietary technology, which you'll also find at Citizens. So here we go in 41 millimeters wide. I think that this one's a little bit more of the elegant wearing experience, especially for my smaller sized wrists. The chronograph is definitely cool looking. One of the things that you miss with the three-hand is you don't get that nifty rotating bezel. So it's just a fixed bezel, and you have the crown here at the 4 o'clock position. So it is elegant, not quite as cool as that bezel on the chronograph, but again, the chronograph has to have something else, right, that the three-hand doesn't have. So again, this one is 41 millimeters wide. The chronograph versions of the super titanium armor are 44 millimeters wide. They all have the full super titanium case and bracelet, sapphire crystal, EcoDrive movement, and they're pretty affordably priced. Right here, this is $550 in the three-hand version, and the chronograph version of the super titanium armor is $650, and you can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.